To get on the same page as pen and paper, my guy Richard Johnson here. So all that action playing out, and then also the 12 teams that we have now. But we have to get to the conversation that's been out there. SMU in, despite the loss of Clemson, along with Alabama sitting on the outside with 3 losses. Your thoughts on if the committee got it right and if it should be that way?
Yeah, the committee got it right. At the end of the day, if you're Alabama, I don't want to hear it. You got 3 losses. You should have handled business. You were a favorite against Oklahoma, and you got beat by 3 scores by a Sooners team that's just not that good. You got beat by Vanderbilt on the road as a heavy favorite. These things matter. These things have consequences. I don't want to hear anything about the gnashing of teeth from Alabama people who say, well, oh, this is going to change how we schedule out-of-conference games. You didn't lose any out-of-conference games. You lost in your own conference. And don't do the circular reasoning argument about the SEC is just so difficult. It's just a week-to-week grind. Texas didn't have any problem with that Vanderbilt team. Texas didn't have any problem with the Oklahoma team. Why did the other teams in the SEC not have problems with the teams that you lost to? Something doesn't add up. This isn't just the Alabama Invitational. SMU lost close to the 2 top 25 teams that it played. They beat everybody else that they played on their schedule. That should count for something. They played in a conference championship game. That should count for something. You don't just get to denigrate the other leagues because you want this to be an SEC-focused endeavor. The Ponies handled business over the balance of the season against the teams that they were supposed to beat, and you didn't. That's on you, Alabama.
And you talk about it because Alabama, like most schools, they have a chance to go get some of these guys when it comes to that transfer portal. You know, the game has changed now, this NIL and basically super teams that we have. We have 2 teams that are currently in the field now. Hey, Oregon with Dylan Gabriel, they went to go get him. And then you have Texas with Quinn Ewers. The importance of that transfer portal, how has that kind of shaped the CFP the past couple of years?
Yeah, well, I think the importance of the transfer portal is on how you augment an already good roster that the bulk of it comes from high school recruiting. Think about a lot of the best teams in this bracket. Oregon with defensive back Jabbar Muhammad, Texas with defensive back Andrew Makuba, Ohio State with defensive back Caleb Downs. You know, funny enough, I just named a bunch of defensive backs, but these are teams that mostly recruited from the high school level. That's where they got the foundation of their team. That's where they got the core of their team. And then Ohio State, you see Will Howard from Kansas State, Quinshon Judkins. They went and got pieces to augment their roster. Indiana's a little bit different because obviously Kurt Signetti comes in from James Madison and brings a bulk of players from James Madison. But for the most part, these really good teams are not built solely through the transfer portal. The core of them is not built through the transfer portal. You do it the way it's always been done, which is you get and you develop high school talent, and then you augment them on edgewise on the roster to increase your depth, or maybe you have an injury that goes down, or you have a transcendent player like Ohio State with Caleb Downs, for instance. You go and get one guy. It's a free agency aspect. But, you know, buyer beware about the transfer portal. Ask 2 and 10 Florida State how building a team through the portal works.
Yeah, that is the reason why they're on the outside looking in. But I'm curious, if we're looking at 2025, there's going to be a lot of names out there. Give me maybe 1 or 2 that can be a difference maker for a team that's already set up that may need that quarterback or that wide receiver. Taking a look at a few of these names out here, which one is maybe, you know what, we need to go snag him to make a difference in this program?
Well, yeah, Darren Mincy, you see there from Tulane, is a really, really good group of 5 quarterback, and I'm interested what happens with him. It was reported last night that John Summerall has taken his name out of the mix for North Carolina, so perhaps he ends up coming back to Tulane, withdrawing from the portal. Dylan Thieneman, who's a name for Purdue, he's in. He might be the best non-quarterback, in the portal at all. He's a defensive back now. He, I think, is testing the waters and trying to see if he wants to sign up for the new coaching regime, the Barry Odom regime that is taking over at Purdue. So he may put himself back, or he may take himself out, I should say, of the portal. But those are 2 names to note.
At transfer portal opening today, the madness begins. As always, Richard Johnson, you will have a pulse on this moving throughout the day here. Hey, don't forget the Portal Palooza is something that you want to see because, look, we will have you all covered. Our friends from 24/7 Sports. Remember, they were all busy on signing day. They have to run it back now. This is like Super Bowl ×2 with all the movement from guys and quarterbacks. We just saw those lips and names there. Starting today, coverage at 12 Eastern. You can catch all that live on X, but also keep here at HQ. We'll have you plugged in throughout the day.